And as we've been saying that this week, we are commemorating the 41st anniversary of Black Wednesday. Peter is standing by with another guest now.
Palliser, thanks very much indeed. Yes, indeed. We are looking back at what happened way back in 1977 on the 19th of October. And that was soon after Steve Biko was killed in police custody, and the then apartheid regime closed down a number of publications as a result of some of the things that were being published. We've come a long way since then, but to help us unpack perhaps the role of independent and community media in particular, I'm now joined by the Media Development and Diversity Agency's acting CEO, Zukiswa Potye. Thank you very much for joining us and welcome to the program.
Good afternoon and thank you for having me.
All right, so it's a significant day for media freedom this week, but freedom comes in many different ways, and particularly community radio. They're not always free to be able to do what they need to do. Take us through some of the challenges that they face and what you are trying to do to assist.
All right, thank you, Peter. First, I think I would like to say before I answer your question that a free press and independent press is a lifeblood for our democracy. And to further say that the community media are key drivers for pluralism and freedom of expression. There's a number of challenges that the community media are grappling with. And I think given that because of their geographic location, they're very rural in nature, and they're supposed to, because they serve a particular population of this country, if you like, in that they actually ensure that information reaches the poorest of the poor, those people that have been marginalized and sidelined by the mainstream media. And what is important is that they reach, community media reaches those population in languages that they speak and in their own languages. And that is what is key. And what is key for us is the dissemination of information to each and every South African in the languages in which they understand.
All right, so, you know, when we talk about press freedom and media freedom, most of us think of things like being gagged, journalists being attacked, and so on and so forth. But I do think that financial constraints can be a challenge in their freedom to be able to do what they do. And community media in particular seems to be struggling with that. We saw a number of licenses being taken away due to non-payment. What is the situation now for them to continue broadcasting and doing the important work that they're doing?
All right, we're going to be tabling a report from the recent colloquium on community media that we had with the political principals, both Mem Konyana and the Deputy Minister Pinky Kekana in July. And I think that colloquium has unraveled issues that we already know about, and most probably more. And what was key to it was the fact that we got the sector itself to talk to us about what possible solutions are there. So the issue of sustainability is key to the viability and just the sustenance of the sector. That is key. Community media grapple with small things like capacity and skills because of where they are located. Sometimes it's not easy to find a financial manager, for instance. So they need to understand things like corporate governance. They need to understand what the difference is between the function of the board and the function of the management, and what the financial manager does versus what the station manager does. And sometimes we find out those roles are conflated. And most of them also have to then pay the signal fees through Centec. And we are debating that because they perpetually in a cycle of being indebted to Centec. And I'm hoping that through that report that was deliberated by the entire sector and representatives with the political principals, that we will find lasting solutions to the things that the sector is dealing with. So obviously the skills and capacity, issues of sustainability, just their inability to attract revenue. And sometimes it's because of their own making, if I may put it that way, because they're non-compliant. If you're non-compliant with SARS, even if government were to promulgate the 30% set aside tomorrow, of which I think we are towards that route, some stations would not be able to access it due to non-compliance. You must be compliant in order for you to be able to attract revenue.
All right. But it's not as simple as that sometimes as well. You know, with the SANEF CEO I was talking to earlier on, we touched on the idea of media capture. And when you're under financial constraints, it can become difficult for a community radio to turn away from proper journalism, in inverted commas, to journalism that tends to promote certain companies and products. How do we protect them from those kinds of pressures?
I think, firstly, Peter, that is the reason why government will kind of always be there to support the community media. There's been documents developed by government and the ministry. There's one that is called Broadcasting Support Scheme, where we seek to unpack exactly what we can support them with. But in terms of that portfolio of communications, remember that the MDDA, the Media Development and Diversity Agency, is key to the support of the sector. So we are beginning to say, remember that the MDDA itself, when it was founded in 2002, it was founded or established in terms of an agreement between government, the broadcasters, and print. So now the money of funding that comes from broadcasters is legislated, and print is not. And because print is not, print at some point, I think between 2014-15, walked away for whatever reasons. So we have written to print, and we are intending to meet with the print to say, please, let's sit around and see how you can come back. That is number one. But we're also going to the private sector at large to say that, please, can you consider diversifying your communications budget? Please consider using community media in your campaigns and when you talk to people of South Africa, because sometimes sometimes they're looking for not a CEO of a company, and there's no need therefore for that advert to go to Sunday Times. I'm sorry to mention the name of the paper, but then they can use the community media to attract some of the capacity that they need in their organizations.
All right, so this is something I would love to talk about for quite a long time, actually, and perhaps we'll get you in again to chat more broadly about what your organization is doing. But thanks very much indeed for joining us today.
Thank you very much.